So one of our amazing viewers wrote in and said, "Is it okay if I fantasize?" They were talking to you, Reid. Fantasize about you when I masturbate.
I didn't see this comment.
I haven't shared it with you yet.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, you could always look.
So they wait. So let me. This is I'm Reid Malcolm from ReidAboutSex.com.
Cathy from TheIntimacyDojo.com.
So the title of this video is it okay to masturbate to us?
Yeah. Can I fantasize about you when I masturbate?
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, just on all grounds of how I'm an educator, philosophically, I have to say, of course, it's okay.
Right, but I think they were also asking about what's
they
the
want
ethics.
Permission, or
permission, and also what's the ethics of fantasizing about someone when they masturbate.
Oh, okay.
So the permission, they were asking specifically about you, so you can share what your thoughts are about that, which you're okay with it.
Yeah.
And then what is the ethics of fantasizing about people when you masturbate?
Oh, so really, this is a great question. So whoever is asking. Yes,
you get to masturbate twice to read.
No, it's not like a finite number.
I'm
like,
teasing.
Only 2 times, make them count. No, I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's creepy. Mm-hmm. And I think people who are in public figures or are out there, like in some ways, you might inspire people or people think you're hot or whatever, and then you are now fodder for their fantasies.
Or it might be at work, someone that you see in the hallway or a coworker. Yeah.
So where it gets tricky, I think, is digitally, like if this person never wrote in, mm-hmm. Then I would never know about this, mm-hmm. right? And so if I don't know, then unless I'm thinking about like woo-woo, energetic, people doing like weird energy kind of stuff, if I believed in that stuff, and I do. I go both ways. I'm a pragmatist, and then I'm also I like my woo-woo. So if I never knew about it, then it tends not to have a kind of impact mm-hmm. on me. If I do know about it, like if I'm, and especially if I'm like you said, the office, right? Mm-hmm. Like
or a good friend that may not feel that way about you.
Yeah. So people can get weird about stuff, especially if you're like.
Well, yeah,
always like making sideways glances.
If the last several months you've had hot sex in your head with this person, it could make the interaction weird because you've had experiences that other person hasn't.
Well, and I think this comes down to an interesting question about we don't teach people like the rules of engagement mm-hmm. for fantasy. So some people are really sloppy with their fantasies, and their fantasies kind of spill out into the real world. So that now you're distracted and you can't focus because you've been jerking off to your boss or whomever, or your favorite YouTube celebrity. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if you removed the shame and the guilt and you gave people tools to be like, oh yeah, like, I was diddling and, Reid or, Chris Helmsworth or whomever, my coworker popped into my head and I'm like, I created a really hot, cool scene, or you had like a dream, which you don't have a lot of control over, mm-hmm. and you just enjoyed it. And so then you kind of had your experience and you just enjoyed it. Yeah. And then when you're in a room with them at a meeting, you can shift gears and actually be a part of reality with this person that you do not actually have that kind of relationship with. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people just aren't coordinated. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think for myself, I try, like, just looking inside, what I do is, one, if it's someone I'm a friend with or close to, I try not to fantasize about them without their permission.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to make the relationship strange. But I will sometimes look at the characteristics of the person and see what I like. Why am I drawn to fantasizing about them? Oh, that person's really warm, or they pay attention this way, and I can pull that.
Or you just like them.
Yeah,
like.
But there may be some aspect of them that I'm particularly enjoying, and I can create that in a generic person. Like I can make a fantasy about someone that has those traits. I don't think there's a problem with public figures. Someone I don't know, but I don't want to make it kind of weird with a friend.
Mm-hmm. And then have you had friends that you asked
I have a couple friends that I've asked.
Because now I'm like, well, I think the asking might be the thing that makes it weird. So how did that go?
It was fine, but I've only asked people I was really close to who they knew I was not going to like become stalkerish.
Yeah.
So I think it depends. Like, look at yourself. Do you get really hooked on people? If you do, fantasizing about them might not be a wise choice because it might make the relationship weird. And for me, real life interactions are much more important than fantasies. Maybe you find someone on TV that you want to fantasize about instead. But if you can handle it, if you don't feel like it's going to be a problem, either ask them or I think what we do in our own minds is ours to do. But if it's having repercussions in the real world, we may make choices not to do it.
Got it. I mean, hey, my crazy idea that's in my head right now is you can start like a whole Secret Santa fantasy club at work, and then just people pick out names and be like, oh wow, I have Bob. All right, I don't know, maybe that'll work. What are your ideas? What are your thoughts?
We'd love to know.
And you all have permission, like, to fantasize about me. I don't know about Cathy. I won't speak on Cathy's behalf.
As long as it doesn't make anything weird if we meet in person, I'm fine with it.
All right, cool. Comments, hit subscribe. Never see you again. I don't know. That's it. Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like,